It is my pleasure to introduce Doreen Harris, Acting President and CEO of NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. NYSERDA is an essential part of the green economy in New York State and in New York City, the ecosystem of the green economy. And you can read more about Doreen's distinguished career in clean energy in her bio. Thank you so much, Doreen, for agreeing to open today's event by grounding us in what is being done already on this topic by NYSERDA to build an inclusive workforce, what the challenges are, and what is at stake. With that, over to you, Doreen.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Lisbeth, and thank you to Jobs First NYC and all of the partners for inviting me to speak today regarding these very important issues. So as described, I'm Doreen Harris. I'm the Acting President and CEO of NYSERDA. It's a real pleasure to join you today to discuss a topic that is at the forefront of, I know, my thinking as a professional and so many of us across New York on the state team and beyond. So I thank you for the opportunity. These are indeed unprecedented times, as the term is used these days. I feel, and we should feel, very fortunate to have Governor Cuomo's leadership in not only managing the pandemic that we are all too familiar with, but also building our economy back to support New Yorkers who have been impacted at all levels, and ensuring at the same time that those in our most vulnerable communities who most directly feel the harmful impacts of the ongoing climate crisis and environmental degradation are not left behind and are actually included and bolstered through these efforts. So where I sit today as we begin to move toward this new normal that we are now operating within and reimagining how we do business in this world, thinking strategically about the changes we can make at a state level, we hope will create a roadmap for success for the clean energy industry and beyond around these issues. Obviously, my focus is the clean energy industry, and relevant for today's discussion. Clearly, every industry has been impacted by COVID, and the clean energy industry is certainly not alone, but the industry alone has lost nearly 17,000 jobs as a result of this pandemic. And the setbacks and challenges many are facing today have only strengthened our resolve to assist New York businesses, employees, and not only rebuilding, but attracting new companies as part of bolstering our green economy to help our state get back on its feet and reemerge stronger than ever. If I'd been providing these remarks a year ago, I would tell you about how successful the clean energy industry has been in growing jobs across our state. The jobs were growing at more than twice the rate of the overall economy at that time. And I and we are confident that we will get back on track to continue the upward trend through the creation of these clean energy jobs that we're here to talk about today. It's important to know that the clean energy market is not new. It is maturing in a way that is measurable. A great example is in 2018, the grid modernization and energy storage sector grew 5 times faster than national employment, the highest growth rate of any clean energy sector. And clean energy workers statewide enjoyed wage premiums of up to 32% for entry-level and mid-range skill levels as compared to other industries, with approximately 70% of clean energy employees receiving health care, retirement, and paid vacation benefits. So now, as we reopen our economy across the state, we will continue to align the imperative of the climate crisis with the urgency of statewide economic development efforts to ensure that clean energy will have a pivotal role in creating short and long-term job opportunities and helping local economies. So we have at our disposal what I view as an amazing climate law that was passed last year, the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, that sets forth not only the most aggressive climate and clean energy goals in the nation, but also a clear commitment to ensure that these investments are used not only to spur economic growth, but also to benefit measurably disadvantaged communities, helping to create tens of thousands of new jobs and improve health and quality of life for all New Yorkers, including those who have historically been left behind. So this goal and the goals within the CLCPA are ambitious, but we have recently, over the summer, not only moved ever closer to achieving them, but they've also sent strong market signals to the industry that New York is open for business and clean energy is a tool to achieve the growth that we seek. But I think relevant for today's discussion, we need to do so in a way that is inclusive and reflective of our priorities to bring these clean energy opportunities to all New Yorkers in an equitable manner. So I know many are aware of the announcements that just keep coming from the state. Over the summer, we had what I viewed as three very major announcements across the renewables sector, the built environment, and transportation. Those all occurred over the summer and are really geared toward attracting new businesses, supporting existing businesses, and truly moving the needle on the green economy across the state. In addition, being Climate Week, and such a pleasure to join you on this week, we've had a rhythm of announcements and investments that just continue that charge moving forward. So we recognize that the magnitude of the challenges facing our economy requires new thinking and creative approaches. And we know that announcements like this, commitments like from the state and beyond, certainly provide certainty to the market that is needed to achieve those investments. So I can't emphasize enough that we see the clean energy industry being at the center of our ability to lead ourselves out of the economic recession, with a big focus on developing and training a workforce for jobs in clean energy sectors that will be critical for our economic recovery. So I would like to speak about this briefly today. I think a great example of the work we're doing in this regard is in this brand new sector of offshore wind that our state is advancing in a nation-leading way under Governor Cuomo's leadership. We are establishing a new industry for our entire nation here in New York. And as part of our Build Back, these renewable projects provide a very significant opportunity to stimulate millions of dollars of investments and create thousands of jobs while powering over 6 million homes over the next 15 years alone. So one of the solicitations I mentioned over the summer is designed to do just that. It's the largest solicitation for renewable energy ever in US history, and are expected to spur over 4,500 good paying jobs in both the short and long term. But we use in our state our buying power to bring forth investments that we seek. And by that, I mean very specific requirements for instance, the payment of prevailing wage, the negotiation of project labor agreements, and the prioritization of opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, as well as benefits coming to those living in low-income census tracts and environmental justice areas. These are all geared toward achieving the measurable goals of the CLCPA, as I described. And despite the growing demand for clean energy services across the state, we know many companies have previously expressed difficulty in hiring in order to keep pace with the growing demand for these services across all sectors. There are workforce gap challenges that we need to fill. In addition, the energy efficiency sector was one of the most hardest hit during the COVID shutdowns. So we see Governor Cuomo's commitment to $175 million in workforce development as playing a key role in helping both companies and displaced workers in this rebuilding effort. At NYSERDA alone, we have committed nearly $70 million over the next 10 years to assist these businesses with recruiting, training, upskilling, and establishing a talent pipeline to reduce business cost of attracting and hiring new workers. So some examples of our work in this regard, $60 million being invested in areas such as building operations and maintenance, high energy HVAC, advanced lighting, controls, etc., with a target of training another 25,000 workers to support energy efficiency work. And I think relevant for today's discussion, we have a number of projects with partners, such as those on today's webinar, that are training members of priority populations, including 18 to 24-year-olds, for energy efficiency jobs in New York City. And with our support, Green City Force is preparing graduates to work in a variety of energy efficiency jobs and have a basic understanding of building system operations that has just begun working with NYCHA on a pre-apprenticeship that will be offered to 50 unemployed or underemployed young adults. We also are working to prepare young people for building automation system careers through a program that introduces them to coding, electronics, and HVAC basics, focusing on marginalized young adults in high school with skill building technical training. And in a great example of a strong partnership, we worked with Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center to establish an apprenticeship program with on-the-job coaching from senior level staff, leading to 12 new hires with no previous experience. In addition to our focus on training younger New Yorkers, we do anticipate that approximately 30% of the individuals trained will come from priority populations, such as individuals with disabilities, New Yorkers residing in environmental justice and disadvantaged communities, veterans, and unemployed and underemployed adults. So again, we in New York are guided by the CLCPA and its ambitious goals and our governor's leadership. It's an amazing opportunity to lead the nation in our fight against climate change, but at the same time ensuring a just and equitable transition for these individuals and communities most adversely impacted by climate change. So, as the co-chair of the Climate Action Council, established under the CLCPA, and as the co-chair of the Just Transition Working Group, which I co-chair with Commissioner Reardon of the Department of Labor, I have a direct line to ensure that all New Yorkers benefit from this transition. We are able to assist displaced workers in finding employment who are moving into the clean energy industry, and we are able to usher in a new generation of clean energy experts at the same time. So together with our partners, industry leaders, and each of you, we are ushering in a new clean energy future that is inclusive, sustainable, and mindful, with a clear vision for addressing climate change impacts and growing our green economy, while ensuring that no one is left behind. So our nation-leading climate policies will continue to drive this investment in our state. Solutions like wind and solar and efficiency and storage and beyond. We are transforming our energy economy now and for generations to come. So it's a pleasure to speak with all of you today, and I very much look forward to continuing our productive collaboration in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doreen.
Thank you.
We're going to have time for just one question, but I am getting the message that actually it looks like we're not going to have time, unfortunately. So I guess I just have time then, Doreen, to thank you again for joining us during this Climate Week. I know you've been on the circuit, so appreciate that you came here to talk to us about this topic. And I know that NYSERDA will be brought up many times in the conversation we have to come. So thank you again for your leadership and for the role of NYSERDA in providing the resources, setting the direction, and working with so many of us across this entire ecosystem as is needed to bring this vision to life. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and enjoy today's discussion. Thank you for having me.
That is wonderful. Thank you.